Good afternoon. It's just gone 4 o'clock and you are on time for the Can Creative Live show on Channel Radio. This is our second show, so welcome to all our new listeners. I'm Nathalie Banex, and every Tuesday at this time we'll talk about arts and culture in Kent with features and interviews about the lives and works of creative people in the county. So you can get in touch with us live during the show through Twitter. The Twitter handle is Kent Creative Art. You can use the hashtag Kent Creative Live Show, and on Facebook, that's the Kent Creative Live Show page. So you'll be able to listen the show again for a week on the Channel Radio website, which is channelradio.co.uk, or on the Kent Creative Live website, which is kentcreativelive.org. So to start this week, we have Miles Allen with us in the studio.
Hello, how do you do?
I'm fine at the moment, and yourself?
Good. Slightly wet.
Yeah. Oh yes, Barney is around, isn't it? Very strong wind. Then we have a recorded feature with Arcelia, a local music band. I will tell you more about it a bit later. So, Miles Allen, he is a writing coach, an author, and a speaker on being a self-published author. He also coaches business people to write compelling biographies. He's writing a fantasy series, The Walkers of Legend.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So, Miles, tell me about how you became a writer, how it all started.
Well, it wasn't really a planned approach to writing. I actually used to write software for fighter aircraft, and I came out of school with a couple of O-levels, so it's quite a big job to get up to doing that, and I worked very hard through those for 25 years. I kind of ran into a bit of trouble when I went into management. I come up against some very nasty characters, and unfortunately they kind of ruined my career and didn't do a lot for my confidence. So I came out of eventually saying I'd like to be made redundant, please, and I'm going to go my own way. And they said, no, you're too valuable, which was kind of nice. But 3 years later I said, look, this is not working. So they agreed, and I sort of got out. But I came out with a lot of depression and some rather unpleasant sort of strange things that happened during those circumstances. I lost everything, and my partner and my home, and ended up living all alone. So it was all very sad and very difficult to live with. And I spent several years like that. And I was just wondering, I couldn't get a job easily. I worked for myself for a while, and that was good. Kind of made a little bit of money, but in the end I thought I just can't do this anymore. So what I wanted to do was to have a change, and it was just, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? And I thought, I'd love to be a fantasy author. And I thought, don't be stupid, you can't do that. And I just started doing it. I started writing. I just started writing a short story for myself to see how it would go. And I sent it up to the internet, and people said, some said, this is great. Some said, this is not very good writing. You need to learn to write better. And I just carried on. And eventually I got to the end of the book. And when I got there, I had 6 books in my head, a whole series worked out. And so I carried on, sent it off to an editor who turned out to be an editor of the books for the New York Times. So quite a good guy to tell me where to go. And he said, look, you've got great storytelling ideas here, plenty of imagination. You should really go for this. He said, but you can't write fiction. He says, so you've got to learn how to do that. So I took all the rest of the money I had, stopped my business, and spent 2 years retraining, completely rewrote the book and sent it back to him. And he said, hey, you've done it. This is actually really good. I'm amazed, and you should go forward. So I went out and self-published, and, kind of the rest is history, really.
You're making it quite easy, but I mean, have you ever written before? Any books or short stories or something?
No sort of fiction.
So you just woke up one morning saying, I'm going to write books?
I read a lot. I read a lot of things about being a software person. You kind of read a lot of fantasy and science fiction, and you play Dungeons and Dragons with the other software engineers, and which really means, in adult sense, you get drunk a lot, have a good time. But it was a good grounding for me. So when I thought, I'd just like to do that. One of the things that did it was my favourite author was David Gemmell, and he died about my age, actually, so I'm just hanging in there. But he was a prolific English writer, and he was great, and he was gone. And I thought, perhaps I'll try and write my own stories, and kind of come out there.
So that first book you wrote was in a series, and it's called The Walkers of Legend.
The Walkers of Legend,
What is it about?
Right, The Walkers of Legend is it's an epic series. Like I said, I couldn't just do one book. I ended up with 6. So epics kind of start off quite small. So if you think of something like the Walks of if you think of Lord of the Rings, and take yourself back to the beginning where you have these furry little hobbits, all cute, walking about inside the Shire, and this wizard turns up and casts some spells and has some nice fireworks. So it's all very small and starts off quite cute, but they end up, of course, in this epic battle for the world and so on, and these hobbits make a difference. That's kind of where I wanted to start, but it's not hobbits. It's a completely new world that I've invented, and there's all kinds of wonderful things that go on inside it. But what we have really is the story is around this empire which has found the ability to reverse aging in themselves. Now, it's only for a few people, but the only way you can get this stuff that makes you reverse your age is to torture people, and you get it out of their blood. And the thing is, the more you have of it, the more you need. So they kept on torturing more and more people until they kind of run out of population. So they had to expand. And so they invaded other people and started to build a massive army. And eventually they got to the point where there's only one small bit left. And that's where the Walks of Legend starts, where they're just about to invade this last piece of land. So one of the things that you have in this land is this kind of magic, and only certain people can do it. So before they invade other lands, they go and kidnap all the people who might be able to do magic. Mm-hmm. And one of these people happens to be one of the characters in the book, and it's his part of his story when he wakes up after being kidnapped in this really weird, strange place. And there's another bit that I'll tell you in a moment. But what I'll do is I'll just read a short bit, if you like, out of the book. Very, very small. It's only about a page. Okay. And first of all, I'll give you a bit about the peril, if you like, and the torturing. No, there's not any torture in it, but I'll just give you some idea of what the place is like. It's quite short. Okay. He worked his head between the cogs and pulleys, pressing his ear against the surface of the egg-shaped pod. It was large enough to hold a single person, and he could just hear their muffled screams. The mechanism stopped, and the screaming died away. There was the brief sound of a pump on the back of the casing, and a tube stiffened and bright red liquid spiraled away into a container. He sighed. It was all very different, all very efficient. Necessary to maintain the increasing demands for Jan. It just wasn't the same as watching a skilled officer of correction getting his instrument dirty firsthand. After all, where was the satisfaction if you couldn't see the knife being turned and the smell of fresh blood as it spilled out across the blade to the cries of the receiver? He sniffed the air, wrinkling his nose. The place now smelt of oil and metal. He lifted his gaze and looked over the rows of identical devices fading into the gloom. The other 3 dungeons in the city's palace were identical to this one. There were hundreds of palaces across the empire. More chambers were being added all the time. All were occupied, and the process continued day and night.
Wow, well done, thank you. Do you do public readings every so often?
Not yet.
No, well, you see, that's an idea.
Well, there's the other thing. Audiobooks are coming on a big now. So because there are so many kind of authors out there, especially with Kindle, so there's lots of authors you can get out there. It's like 1 million a year coming online now. We're worldwide, about 200,000 in the UK a year trying to get published. So lots of books, but very few people can afford to get audiobooks done. So there's a relatively small number, and they sell quite expensive compared to books, and people listen to them in cars. So that's what I'm thinking of doing next. Maybe reading out and having a go at that. And,
okay, well, try. Let me know. I'll go. Yeah. Now, I believe you sold your first book walking down the high street. What happened?
Well, this whole confidence thing that I lost when I had depression and was living on my own, trying to come out of that was very difficult. And the book did wonders for my confidence. And when it came through and I opened the box and there was these shiny books all staring up at me, and I just was grinning like an idiot. And I thought, I just picked up a bag. I picked up a bag and I put 10 books in it. I thought, that's it. I'm going down the high street. I'm going to go and sell these books. And I thought, I'll go in all the geek shops. So, I'll go in sort of the phone shops and the music shops and these sorts of things. In the end, actually, the first thing I went to was the bank. And I was going to pay a check-in. And I walked up to the thing, and there was a queue of people, and I spoke to this girl, and I was grinning so much. And while she was sorting out my check, I just said, I'm an author today. Like this, and she looked at me, she said, oh, really? And she was very interested. 30 seconds later, I sold my first book to the woman behind the bulletproof glass. And after that, my confidence could not be anyway. I sold all 10 books walking home back through the high street, and that was it. I was off and running. So
it's one of these little moments, just the one thing that makes a big difference.
It shook me, to be honest, because I'd never, after being in the wilderness for so long and being so down and depressed, suddenly being popular and being seen as worthwhile again. And somebody, it's almost like you're kind of a bit of a mini-celebrity, you know, when being an author. So
that's just what you needed at that time as well.
I played the part as well as I could.
So this book one, I think you made the front page in the KM. And you had a good media exposure. That must have definitely boosted your confidence after that.
It did. I ended up I pushed myself into Waterstones. Confidence was just bursting out of every orifice. And I went into Waterstones and said, look, I'd like to do a book signing. And I twisted their arm and they said yes. And it went very well. And so other Waterstones wanted me. And I went to Ashford and I sold so many books. I ended up pushing the Hunger Games off the #1 slot in Ashford. So I was actually #1 in Waterstones. And that got me on the front page of the Kent Extra, complete exclusive. So I was still grinning like an idiot, holding up this book. And I got the whole story out there and everything. So, yeah, it was great. So,
and then have you been contacted by publishers or do you have other opportunities?
There are so many people trying to get into publishers. I did sort of toy with the idea for a while, but people say, you'll find it very difficult. Fantasy is a difficult one, especially to get into. At the time, it wasn't a big thing. It was all crime, so they weren't really looking for people like that. I tried 10, but to be honest, they came back and said, we're just not interested at the moment. So I thought, well, I'll self-publish, and I'm glad I did. I wouldn't go to a publisher now, personally, for myself. But yeah.
And you have your own company now?
I do. I now have a self-publishing company, which I do for myself, and I've published about another half a dozen people now, 7 or 8 people. So who want to do books, yeah.
And you are now promoting your second book.
I am. Legends Awakening in the series came out about 5 weeks ago, so I'm now out doing my tour of coffee shops and Waterstones and all those sorts of places and getting my name out there. And it's still got the magic from the old days. So I used to really enjoy sitting down and just basically pestering people in coffee shops and making them laugh and having a good time. And, it's good.
So what have you learned from the first experience? Things that you do again because it worked and things that you would not do again?
On the marketing front?
On the marketing front.
What wouldn't I do again? No, I don't think there's anything really. I mean, what's happened is social media has exploded so much in the last 5 years. We all know it has. So it's very important to have a big profile there. So I have several I have a website and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and you have to work all of these to grow your audience and your fans. And if you don't do that, you're really just going to stay in the noise. And it really is makes the difference because you can't afford to spend tens of thousands of pounds on marketing. Some people can, but most can't. So you have to sort of do it yourself the hard way. And yeah.
So where can we find your books? Where can we buy it?
You can buy them. You can get them on Amazon. So they're on the Kindle, for instance. You can buy them on Amazon. I prefer it if you bought them through my website directly. Otherwise, Amazon gets all the money. But they're exactly the same books, and they just get posted straight out to you. But you can get them on www.theworkersoflegend.co.uk. So that's fairly easy to do. And you'll find other information on there as well. And you can do a preview of the book and things like this. And you can also go onto my website, which is milesallen.net. That's www.milesallen.net. And I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well. It's not too difficult to find me. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, you also have your coaching practice. So you coach people to write stories, biographies, etc. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I had so many people coming to me saying, I'd love to write a book when I started. In the end, I thought I'd just do a quick class for people, and that was 3 years ago. It's still running every 2 weeks. I've managed to publish a couple of people out of that, and there's still more going. I've now got 4 groups that run around Kent. There's another one starting in Maidstone in January. And basically I just teach people. I've given some exercises, started them, and I've structured approach how to write fiction and how to write really good stories. I have to say people are stunned when they start doing it. They don't realise what's involved in writing stories. They just think they read, therefore they can write. But it's not about English. It's about, creating emotion in people and getting readers to be excited and afraid and in love and hating and all these sorts of things. And that's the hard part. But there are techniques to do that. So, yeah.
Quite. And that's actually thanks to these groups that we met. So because I have attended some of your coaching. And I do recommend it because there are ways to write stories that people don't expect. I didn't. And you took us through the whole process that was quite revealing. So,
yeah.
And
well,
again,
they come on very well as well. People change very quickly when they start to use these techniques and write some amazing stories in a very short period of time. So yeah.
Can you share a few tips, things that would make people, want to write things that they might not think they can write? Because that's also down to confidence, isn't it?
Well, I'm afraid that's a huge part of it. Most people think they can't do it, but it is a technique. I mean, the only thing you need to do is to be able to create in your head. If you're able to do that, then you can do it. If you don't have it, I can't teach that. You're kind of born with it to be creative. And if you can do that and make stuff up in your head and images and think of films in your head, if you like, and things happening, then you can write about it. It's just a question of doing that. I would say probably one of the... it's difficult to say all the things to how to write books well, but you have to understand it's not about writing stories. That's not what you are. You're not a storyteller. What you are is you take people on an emotional journey, and that's what I teach people, how to write emotionally. So how do you get people to feel anxious and all these other emotions that you need to do to take them on the ride? And the story then you build around your characters. That's the next most important thing you do. So I teach you how to make compelling characters that people love to follow. So
yeah. And I hope I'm not revealing a secret here, but the one thing that really struck me when in this group was when you write a story, to find a theme.
Yeah.
That is the thing that amazingly wasn't obvious to me, but it is unconscious. You're aware it's got to be the behind the story. You need that theme. Yeah. Can you tell us a bit?
Yeah, well, there are certain things that you have to do in order to get from one end of a story to the other. And if you just sit down and start writing, you can find yourself getting lost. So what you need, at the very beginnings, you need to understand you need a theme. And that is, what are you going to write about? So it could be, your theme's going to be vengeance. So therefore you write a story that's going to end up, someone's going to react to someone and get revenge on somebody else or something like this. But at the end, you've also got to decide how you're going to make your readers feel. At the end, they can feel sad, happy, annoyed, frustrated, or whatever. So when you get these things together, this is just parts of it. But having the theme is essential for you to understand what you're going to do, so that every single thing you write in the book is about that theme. And it stops you wandering off and people going, what's this about? And it helps you to focus.
I read somewhere that there are, I think, 7 or 6 or 5, I can't remember, a certain number of themes that we found in every big story that works. So you mentioned vengeance. There is the hero thing. You need somebody who makes it all through all the problems and then wins at the end and makes everything happy.
Yes, that's right. I mean, you look at, let's think of a classic theme from, Liam Neeson. What was he in Taken? So there you go. So they say he had to go and get his daughter back. So that was a very strong theme. And the thing is about a theme, and the thing is about the main character. You have to give them something they will not stop. Otherwise, when you're reading, you'll think, might as well just give up at this point. Why don't they just stop? It has to be compelling. So in the case of Liam Neeson, he had to go and get his daughter, and nothing was going to stop him, no matter how difficult it, until he got there, or basically he was killed. Obviously, it wasn't going to happen. But,
yeah, exactly.
So you have to make compelling reasons to get in there. Yeah.
And the other thing, just to finish on this, about telling stories, how important it is, going back to business people or anybody with a practice, artist, to tell the story about themselves and what they do, which is very powerful to connect with the audience, because people want to know about why. It's not necessarily what you do, but why you do it. And you say that in a story.
Well, the thing is, when you're it kind of harps back to when you're writing a story, you write about a character, because people follow characters. They don't follow the story, they follow the characters, and that's what they love to do. So you're a character, so as a business, what you need to do is to not talk about your business, you need to talk about yourself, so they follow you. And if you're an artist, you don't want to talk about your product or your painting. What you want to do is talk about yourself. If you ever listen to an entrepreneur stand up, a successful one, and talk about their story, they don't talk about their products, they don't talk about what's happened to them so much, they talk about themselves and their past and their history, and they have funny things to say, and very, like myself, I have this horrible time that I've been through. It's not easy to talk about, but once you get it out there, people identify with it and say, okay, you've done that, you've come through it, that's good, that's kind of inspirational. So these are things that you need to do, and it really lets people focus on you. You don't want people buying one picture because it looks good. What you want to do is everyone buying every one of your pictures because they like you, and they follow you. So
exactly right. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Miles. We'll get back to you a bit later in the show.
Okay.
But for now, we're going to have a short break, just a few seconds. And after that, we'll come to some music and our recorded feature with Arcelia. I'll see you in a second.
Find suppliers and quote for work with local Kent businesses at supply-my-business.co.uk.
So that was short, you see. So you're listening to the Kent Creative Live Show on Channel Radio, and we're speaking to Miles Allen, who's with us in the studio. But now we're going to play a feature that I recorded last Saturday in Faversham. I was invited to a house concert in a private home with Arcelia. And if you have never seen a house gig or been to a house gig, I do recommend it. It's a really nice opportunity to listen to some music in a small and intimate venue, sometimes with a bit of there are some candles and it makes it really warm and not too many people. It really is very nice to attend. The band members are Teresa Gallagher, Simon Foster and Gavin Alexander. And by the way, there's those people who composed the ident for the show, so that's how I got to know them. And the hosts were Christine and Trevor. This is about 14 minutes long, so I'll see you back.
Oh, right.
Can I squeeze round here?
Arcelia. The name is Spanish for treasure chest, and Teresa come up with the name. We all put in names in the hat, and she poo-pooed Simon's and mine, and we just agreed that was the nicest name, and it was nice, resonant, treasure chest. I thought, oh, that's a nice image, so that's why we picked Arcelia. Simon and Tree got married, and I wrote their wedding song, and they sang on it afterwards. And then while we were playing around with that and the arrangement, Teresa said, wouldn't it be nice if we did something together? So I had a few songs sitting around, and Simon's always liked my writing. So we started working on some stuff together, and we had a gig book, so that was how it started, just as a project to start with, and then it grew into something more.
Okay, I'm Christine, the host.
And I'm Teresa, one of the performers.
Well, it came about, I guess, because we have always loved live music, so we spend a lot of time listening to musicians in what was probably pub venues, and there were always lots of interruptions and distractions. And also, we were particularly friendly with some young musicians that weren't making too much money. So we thought, actually, we could give a quieter environment, and we've already got the crowd that will come and listen at home. Why not just let's take it home and all enjoy it at home? And I suppose it grew from there, because then we had ventured out and saw other musicians and said, well, how would you like the idea of coming back to our house and playing? And we were always rewarded with like a really positive response. Not just from the musicians that wanted to play, but from the people that came to the house and enjoyed listening to music, as I said, without disruption and distraction. And yeah, I guess we are lucky enough to have a space that suits this sort of thing. I don't know. What do you think, Teresa?
Yeah, I was interested. So are you saying that you started house concert before even knowing about the phenomenon that is a house concert?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, so it just happened organically.
We just saw somebody that we were particularly friendly with, and we knew he was getting a lot of hassle in pubs and not much money, and we thought we can do better than that at home. Give it a go.
Well, you're natural and wonderful host, I must say. Because our Kelly's first ever gig, house gig, was for Christine and Trevor, and it was nerve-wracking, but it was bliss, and it's turned into one of our favourite things to do as gig-wise, because it's a listening audience. People who come here to specifically listen to a specific band to play, and just enjoy the intimate space. Sharing that, and the communication that goes on in between, and enduring sometimes.
And I think that's important too, because you talk about communication, and something that you are doing at the moment is talking about the way that songs evolve and where they come from. And I think that's quite important. And I'd like to see a little bit more of that from everybody that comes here, talking about how the music comes into being in the first place.
Yes, it is interesting to people, and I enjoy that part of it whenever I go and hear live music as well. As long as they don't go on and on. Which some people enjoyed a bit too much. But it's a tricky thing trying to find the right balance. It's something we're always trying to get right, trying to work on our pattern.
But it does give a connection between the listener and the performer.
Indeed, yeah.
And it makes it all so much more real and worthwhile, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think also it gives you space to maybe react to the people that are in the audience.
Yes.
Because it's so much smaller and so much more immediate to you.
Oh yeah, you can hear their every breath. And it's lovely to hear tiny gasps or squeals of delight or the sighs of people having enjoyed something. It's really special.
And of course that works the other way too, because the audience can see exactly what you're doing.
Yes.
We can see sometimes little mistakes.
Yes.
And that's great too, because it makes it all much more real.
Yes.
Really so real. That's the thing that I love. I really do love it. So, I hope it spreads and we get to go to some more venues ourselves. That would be great.
This is only about our 6th house concert. We did our first one in November of last year in this case, for Trevor and Christine. And we've done one in Suffolk and several in Kent. They've all been different, but the same atmosphere, the same enjoyment of sharing a space. We just want to thank Christine and Trevor for inviting us all tonight to their full home. Isn't it gorgeous? Yes. Okay, let's kick off.
He said songs you've done love, all running through your veins and filling up your heart. This time it took our life, turn it upside down, 'cause it's for the better.
So who hasn't been to a house gig before? Lovely. Well, it's all very, very relaxed, and there's none of that barrier audience band thing. If you want to chat, ask us a question or anything in between, just it's a conversation, it's a sharing thing. So don't hold back.
I'm a very big fan of Mark Nevin, who wrote It's Got to Be Perfect. And does it go? I don't know. Anyway, if I sing it, everyone else will be singing it. Never going to go away. Yeah. And anyway, so Teresa said, I love this song called The Right Note. So I sat there one evening in utter envy, trying to recreate the man's magic, and ended up writing a song that I stole and used for myself. So this is my nod and ode to Mark Nevin. I once met a girl who was very kind. She took my hand and we crossed the line. Went down the road to a place divine. I ventured some distance, but made sure we were back by tea time. Down at Lanny's place, our coffees got cold. She let my sorry tales unfold, and I listened to her as the day grew on. And I held her opinion, held her heart close by.
Actually, what we felt was we were given an environment for musicians to to play and for people to really listen and enjoy. And at the same time put some money in their pockets, because they don't earn a great deal of money for their talents. And actually, music is very important to us.
Another song, another song, another song over you.
I actually said I wouldn't miss it for the world, and we didn't, did we?
Oh, great.
It was really good fun. It's the first time I've been to a house gig, and I'd definitely come again. It's a lovely, intimate way to listen to music and meet new people. It's very relaxed. And Arcelia are brilliant, so I've been following them for a while. We listen to them and try and sort of spread the word a bit. I think they're really talented, very easy to listen to, and I think what I like is their harmonies, but also you can hear the words. And once you have the CD and listen to that at home while you're on it,
Oh God, while you're riding.
yes.
I thought it was far too romantic for irony.
I do. Perhaps I'm missing something in my life.
I thought it was incredibly romantic.
It was lovely, really wonderful.
A friend told us about them, and he started them off down here, and then he played in my house as well, and gradually we've built up a little group of people that like to come along, because a lot of musicians, although they play in pubs, it's not always dedicated audiences, and it can be quite noisy. People talk over the musicians, so it's great to have a house concert where you've got a dedicated audience, and we're all contributing a little bit to the evening, and everybody wins, you know, because you've got a lovely atmosphere with people who come along specifically to listen to the musicians and not talk over them like you get in a pub. We've had Truck Stop Honeymoon, Danny Schmidt, Arcelia. Anybody who would like to come along, we really encourage it, because it's such an open way of hearing people. It's lovely.
Good idea. I like them. They're very informal, very relaxed, and you get to meet the artists as well. So, yeah, wonderful. I love them. I think they're a terrific idea.
I'm here because I love music, and I really like Faversham. I've lived here for a couple of years, and I was invited along. So I think it's a great idea. The music's been fantastic. Just the last time and this time, the only times I've been. So I'm all for people creating music in their homes and people being able to enjoy in this kind of informal way.
It's wonderful. It's just such an intimate concert. Just to hear a concert in this type of environment is just wonderful. There's clarity. You have an audience who are listening to the music. Actually can really enjoy it, and that feeds to the musicians. It brings out their best because they know they've got people who are really appreciating what they're doing. It's just magical.
I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was lovely, and as I said, I thought the lyrics were lovely because you can actually hear them and you can appreciate them, and it feels a set with love. Really, actually, it feels a really lovely environment.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's a lovely audience to play to. Chris and Trevor are lovely hosts, and house concerts are really quite intimate, and you can focus so much more on being creative because you haven't got the distraction of a pub and noises and all the rest of it that goes on. It's a wonderful environment, and Martin Elliott is a beautiful bass player, and Perry Wyatt. So it just feels like an orb. It feels like one at certain points. It feels like we're completely connected.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. You're listening to the Can Creative Live Show on Channel Radio, and we've been speaking to Miles Allen, and we have just recorded or showed you a little feature about Arcelia. Now, I would normally tell you where you can find more details about these events, but on this occasion I can't because they are not really advertised. They are very informal, and they are organized by people who simply want to encourage other people to do the same and get musicians to play in their house. So if you have a house large enough to get a band in, and about 30, 40 people sometimes, then you can start your own house concert. And let us know, then we can tell people about it. As it was said in the feature, it's also the opportunity for musicians to get a bit of money, so everybody participates, bring their food and drinks, etc. But I can't tell you about Arcelia, so you can check them out on their website, www.arcelia.co.uk, and this is ARCELIA. So, Miles, have you been to a house gig before?
Do you know what? I've never even heard of them. I'm just thinking about what happens to the neighbours.
No, well, you know what? They were there.
Oh, right, you invite them.
That's the best way. They were invited and they were there.
All right.
It was really nice.
Oh, right.
And there were, candles everywhere. It was very warm, and we could, it's true, again, they said it in the feature, but you could talk to the musicians, and there was a lot more information shared. It was a really good moment. Oh. But I hadn't heard about it before either.
I think it sounds fantastic.
I
can't believe I've not heard of it. Yeah.
So you could do that, couldn't you?
Yeah, I'll sing or something, yeah.
No, but I mean with your books, you can read out your books.
Oh, right, yeah.
You can do entire...
Do they do that as well then?
You can start it.
Oh.
Why not?
A house reading.
A house reading.
Why not, yeah. Okay.
You see? It's really nice. Several armchairs, sofas, and people can just sit and listen to you reading your books.
Oh, this is going back to sort of Downton Abbey sort of thing, isn't it? They used to do that kind of thing. To stand up and read. Okay, yeah.
Oh, and actually, a long time ago, people used to sit around the fire and read stories.
Yeah.
All these storytelling things, we don't do that as much, not live, do we? Would you do that?
I think that sounds fantastic. I can't see the kids doing it. But maybe, you never know, they'll probably be fiddling with their phones or something. Oh, you're trying to talk. But I love the vision. Seems great, especially Christmas time. That seems great, yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Right, now you're going to have a full track from Arcelia. You heard just a few bits in that little feature, but now we are going to put a whole track on, and it is called She's Not Lost by Arcelia, and it is from their album Wrap Your Bones.
She holds it in. It's written in the lines. You can read it in her eyes. And all those dreams, those what could have been, hidden in the seams of a life. But she's not lost, she's starting to wake. Hope's not gone, just been away. She turns a page with those worn hands, smiles at sketches of her youth and prays for you. She's not lost, she's starting to wake. She may have paid with her youth. She came home, may have strayed too far. She's found a way. She's come home.
Welcome back. Wasn't it that nice? I quite like that. So now we're going to have another very quick break, and I'll see you in a few seconds to tell you about what's going on in Kent.
Rift Research and Development. Tax rewards for innovative small businesses. riftresearch.com.
You see, another very short break. So you've just tuned into Channel Radio. You're listening to the Can Creative Live show. We have Miles Allen with us in the studio, and you've heard a few things from Arcelia. You will have a bit more music later on. But right now, I want to tell you about a few events that are taking place around Kent. So we're starting with Risky Margate. What does risk mean to you? It is Margate House and Turning Point that give Margate's artists the opportunity to exhibit their artwork on the topic. That is in relation with the exhibition at Turner Contemporary. And this is at Margate House. It's in the High Street in Margate. A panel of professionals in the fields of art and culture will judge the work, which will be available for sale. This is between the 3rd and 17th of December. So Margate House, as I said, it's 3941 High Street. The contact for more information is Lana Van Zeta, and you can check her on Margate House website, which is www.margatehouse.org. So contact her and she will tell you more about it. Then we have the concert that we talked about last week with our guest Laure Meloy, the soprano. And it's an event that is Amici Chorus and Ensemble. It's mainly Mozart, which includes the Mass in C minor. It is taking place at the Gulbenkian in the Collier Ferguson Hall in Canterbury on Sunday the 22nd of November at 3 p.m. So it's an unusual time, so make note of that, 3 p.m. It is £15, and there are concessions and students for £10. And you can check all the details from the Gulbenkian website. Then we have a few things in Margate. There is Memory that is starting this week. It's a group exhibition showing the works of Kent artists who have submitted works inspired by the theme Memory. The show will open on Friday the 20th of November, and it will be until the 25th. It's taking place at Pie Factory Margate. You can check the details also on their website, piefactorymargate.co.uk. And then we stay at Pie Factory again for another exhibition, which is an exhibition of jewelry and silverware. It's called Precious Kent, Objects of Desire. It will be 3 days only, 27th to the 30th of November. And again, Pie Factory Margate for all the details, piefactorymargate.co.uk. I guess you know now what the website is for Pie Factory Margate. And one more thing at Pie Factory Margate. They have been really busy. It is called A Handful of Dust. Now, this is a very strong show. It's a group show where 8 artists remember children caught in conflicts. And it will open on the 4th of December until the 16th. And you can find all the details on the website by the group of artists, which I am of, I must say, called irememberthechildren.org.uk. And the 8 artists have produced very strong and interesting artworks of installation, painting, etc. There will be some other events taking place, including a discussion about whether art can change the world. So all the details on that website. And I'll mention it again in the next show. Also, if you work in the creative sector in Kent, you may want to consider submitting your work to the Kent Creative Awards. It's, I think, the first one of this sort covering the whole of Kent. There will be a ceremony on the 18th of May, and it's all about celebrating the arts and culture in Kent. You can check the details on kentcreativearts.co.uk, and the deadline for submission is the 5th of January. We have 2 more things. There is Julie Davis, the florist that teaches, is hosting a couple of workshops. I mentioned that last week as well, but the dates are still in the future. She does a Christmas flower arranging workshop at Belmont House near Faversham on Wednesday the 16th of December from 10 in the morning to 12:30. That is £45 per person. And then she does a Christmas door wreath workshops. Did I get the pronunciation right? Yes, I think so. At Anna's Country Flowers, just outside Chilham. It's on Saturday the 28th of November, Wednesday the 2nd of December, and Thursday the 3rd of December. This is £55 per person. And you can check the details on Julie's website. It's a long address, juliedavisflowerworkshops.co.uk, and Davis is Davies. So juliedavisflowerworkshops.co.uk. The last thing is Dartford Creative. They are looking for artists based in Dartford to work with community and education groups to deliver arts workshop. So the artists will be paid. That's good news. And the delivery will be between January and June 2016. You can send your application from the 16th, well, that was yesterday, and it will close on the 26th of November. The contact is Michelle Boaks, which you can contact on 07903 016937. And her email is Michelle, that is MICHELLE, at icontheatre.org.uk. That's the end of our announcement. Unless Miles would like to say something, do you have any reading things happening soon?
Well, I was just going to say, to do on the art side, there is a new gallery that's opened up in Maidstone. I don't know whether people know about it. It's called Cross Pollination, and I've been in there a couple of times now, and they've done the most fantastic job. It's run by an Indian woman called Ravinda, and she's quite an acclaimed artist herself. She used to tour around the world and things, but she's settled in Maidstone because she used to come from here, and she's struggling to get more people coming because they don't know it's there. So, and the Nucleus one is shut down because it looks like the council in Maidstone don't support the arts terribly well. So she's really struggling to do that. So by all means, go along and have a look. There's an amazing range of pictures in there. It's Black Art Month at the moment, so it's Nigeria and Africa, and it's tremendous artists are in there. And that will, she's going on to another one. I think next month it's the Queen. So she's doing one to do with the Queen. So there's all kinds of wonderful pictures in there. But yeah, it's well worth going and have a look at and supporting her. There's a coffee shop as well. So,
good to know. Thank you, Miles. Okay, so now we've got another track from Arcelia. It's called Heaven, and it is from their semi-album Wrap Your Bones. Enjoy it.
You say nothing's changed, we're the same. It's just your frame of mind makes you feel this way. Should be already in heaven. Should be already in heaven. Should be already in heaven. So take it to the bridge. I'll take it to the bridge. Yeah. Oh, come on and take me there. In the depths of night, when insomnia strikes, I'll listen to your talk. other guy. And when you go out with your friends, you dress so tight, your hair so looking right. You give me a fright. Can't think what it is that went wrong, but things just ain't the same.
Should be already in heaven,
already in heaven,
already in heaven,
heaven,
already in heaven, already in heaven. Take it to the bridge,
should already be there.
Take it to the bridge.
I wanna take it to heaven.
Take it to the bridge.
Won't you take me there? Take me there. Oh, no, 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 no.
Take it to the bridge.
Won't you take me to the bridge? Oh, no, no, take me there. Hey, now won't you take me there? Oh, no, 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 no. Already in heaven, already in heaven, already in heaven, already in heaven.
Et voilà, that was Heaven from Arcelia from their album Wrap Your Bones. Well, we are getting near to the end of the show. We'll play another track, the third and last track from Arcelia. But first, I just want to say that it was very nice to be here again for the second show. I hope you enjoyed it. I have. Miles, was it okay?
That's okay, yeah.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very nice.
Good, excellent. You have. And then we had Kevin Ralph as well taking pictures, so you'll see some of that on solo. Hello, Kevin.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, he's there. Very quiet, but he's a very good photographer. Now, everything we have mentioned during the show will be on our Facebook page, on our website, cancreativelife.org. So you will be able, to get all the website address that I mentioned and telephone number, etc. Next week on the show, we have two guests. We'll have two guests. We'll have Emma Dewhurst from Wow Magazine. She has launched a crowdfunding campaign that is very important to her, very good one. So she will be here to talk about it. And we will also have Hazel Adley. She's a personal and professional coach. She will do a little coaching spot talking to artists, and she does quite a lot with creative people to try and work on their confidence and all that, which reminds me, part of all the presentation, Miles, he said a bit earlier in the show that he was doing a workshop for biographies, but that reminds me, you have a plan for a workshop soon for artists to write their bios, is that right?
Yes, done one already, which turned out to be very successful. So I'm doing a second one. It's a whole day. It's going to be in January, early January. So just look on my website, which is milesallen.net again, and look under courses, and you'll see that come up when the next one's going to be going. It's a whole thing to teach you how to do your bios and become very compelling to as a person. How to talk better and write better and that sort of thing.
Yeah. And that one, you say it was successful because there were quite a few things that came out of people who initially were not quite sure about how to write about themselves. You managed to get them to talk, and
it's getting the story out of people is a big thing to do with it, because most people think they have very boring lives. Yeah, so when you get into it, they go, "Oh wow," Yeah.
I didn't know this about myself.
Yeah.
And also to tell the story behind their artwork, which is also important. When you show your work, you want people to connect with it. So
feeds into your artist statement and those things, so you have a whole complete package. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll tell you about that. I just finished to thank again Gavin Alexander and Simon Foster for the ident, which you will hear at the end of this show. And I will leave you with the third piece of music by Arcelia, from the same album, Wrap Your Bones, and it's called Cupid. So I'll play that and then we'll finish the show. So just wanted to say thank you, goodbye for listening. See you next week. It's next week already. Just 1 week is quickly gone. At 4 o'clock on Channel Radio. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
So long hiding from love, left Cupid wondering who I am. Been knocking on his door, it's left him feeling it's a scam. But it feels so right, this time I can't go wrong. 'Cause there's something new, yeah, in my thinking. He said, son, you got love running through your veins, filling up your heart. This time it took your life, turned it upside down, 'cause it's for the better, for your life. Is in the book of love, under treaties of the heart. Don't skip a page or two, tomorrow you may find it's hard to find the page again, though it never reads the same. There's always something new, yeah, in my thinking. He said, son, you got love running through your veins, filling up your heart. This time it took your life, turned it upside down, 'cause it's for the better.